What is up, dudes and dudettes? I am the mystical green Beanie, and welcome to another episode of Beanie Babble, the show where I take concepts from the comic book industry, the community, and various comic book media, and I talk about the things that I find interesting. And today I'm going to be doing yet another top 5 video. The last one I did seemed to be fairly well received, plus I had a lot of fun doing it, so I'm just going to go ahead and do another one. And this week, I'm going to be giving you my top 5 personal favorite legacy heroes of the Marvel and DC universes. So, starting off this list at number 5 is Mayday Parker, SpiderGirl. So, set in the MC2 universe, we see what could have happened if Peter and MJ's baby was returned to their care. And after a brutal final battle with the Green Goblin, Peter decides to retire for good. But years down the line, Peter and MJ's daughter begins to develop abilities of her own, and eventually she took her father's name, kinda, and became the spectacular SpiderGirl. Now, personally, I adore this character, and she has some amazing adventures, and most recently she was a major-ish character in the Spider-Verse event. Now, personally, I was a little disappointed in the way that her character was utilized in Spider-Verse, but that aside, I was just really excited to see her character again, and glad to know that at least someone at the Marvel offices hadn't forgotten about her. Coming in at number 4 is Laura Kinney, aka X-23, aka the Wolverine. Well, okay, now she hasn't exactly taken up the mantle yet, but we can see that after Wallach McDrainer pants, Secret Wars, we see that after the death of the Earth 616 Wolverine, she will be the one taking his spot, even though Old Man Logan is there, for reasons. But I digress. Now, the reason I put Laura on this list is simple. I like Laura. She's one of my favorite comic book characters of all time, and fun fact, she made her debut in X-Men Evolution, the X-Men series that I grew up with, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because one of the most violent comic book characters of all time was created exclusively for a children's cartoon. It's just hilarious to me. Actually, Harley Quinn. Yeah, I forgot about her for a second. But yeah, anyways, I love this character, and even though she isn't officially Wolverine yet, she will be soon. And I'll be right there to pick up every $5 comic she shows up in. Wow, saying that out loud really puts into perspective how expensive comics are. Whoa. Anyways, making the way to the number 3 spot on this list is none other than Miles Morales, Spider-Man. Now, not since the death of Superman in the 90s had the media outlets who typically don't give a damn about comic books in general address their opinions on the industry's creative decisions so passionately. And I could go on and on about that, but that's another episode of Beanie Babble in and of itself. But I remember a couple years back, during the events of Ultimate Fallout, which was in 2011, I believe. Jeez, time flies. But yeah, this stirred up a lot of controversy, but thankfully, the voices of the bigots died down after they read the first few issues of the all-new Ultimate Spider-Man, which was tubular, if I may say so myself. And yes, I did just say tubular, I'm bringing it back. Now, in the near future, we can see that post-Secret Wars, Miles will be folded into the main universe and will be taking over as the main Spider-Man for New York City, while Peter Parker finally gets his freaking shit together. Pardon my French, but seriously, Peter's like 30 years old. His life should have been what it is by now, like years ago. But again, that's another episode of Beanie Babble in and of itself. So, yeah. And taking the number 2 spot on this list is Dick Grayson, Batman. Now, after the events of Final Crisis, which I haven't yet read, but trust me, I'll get to it, it's just, so much happens in the DC universe between 2002 and 2008, and there's just a lot of stuff to read, and it's very overwhelming, but I digress. So, in 2009, Grant Morrison released a title, Batman and Robin Reborn, and it takes place after the events of Batman's death. Thus, Dick Grayson takes up the mantle of the Bat and has Bruce's biological son Damian under his wing as Robin. Now, I'm especially nostalgic for this series because this was around the time I started taking comics seriously and started collecting, and I love this book so much to the point where I'd say that for me, Dick Grayson is Batman in my eyes. I'm not sure that many other people's gonna, agree with me on that, but that's just me. And the number 1 legacy hero of all time, in my opinion at least, and this really shouldn't come to a surprise to anyone who watches this channel, Wally West, the Flash. Now, as I've mentioned before, Wally West is the Flash in my eyes. He was the Flash that I grew up with reading and watching in TV and cartoons and video games, and I got nothing against Barry, I just prefer Wally. And although I'm really starting to dig Barry Allen, as you can see in this other video that I made where I give you my top 5 favorite Barry Allen stories of all time, it's just, I really dig Wally. And it does suck that Wally was basically tossed to the dogs and left to dry on a rusted meat rack along with the other forgotten heroes, or heroes that DC's chosen to forget about at least. It's nice to see that he's finally being brought back into the public eye, slowly but surely. And Wally is demoted to being a teenager once again, and he hasn't yet gained his Speed Force abilities. It is nice to see that, much like Mayday Parker over at Marvel, somebody over at the DC offices hasn't forgotten about this amazing character. So, that is it guys, my top 5 list of my personal favorite legacy heroes in DC and the Marvel universes. Now, if you disagree, you can always let me know down below how much of an idiot I am for not sharing the same opinion as you. And while you're down there, let me know what your top 5 favorite legacy heroes from the DC and Marvel universes are. If you like this video, all you gotta do is hit the like button, share, support the channel. If you want to see more videos like this, all you gotta do is subscribe. I am the Mystical Green Beanie, and as always, until next time, adios nachos, adios.